Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in. Glad that you're joining me today. And it's going to be a little bit different today as I'm not in my studio back home in the upstate of South Carolina. Instead, I'm speaking to you from the deck of a beautiful ship somewhere along Alaska's Inside Passage. The air is crisp. The mountains just rise straight out of the water, and the stillness is broken only by the sound of the ship cutting through the channel. And boy, is this God's handiwork on full display. Today's port of call, Juneau, Alaska, the capital city. You can't reach it by car. And one of the most fascinating stops on our Patriots Alaska cruise with my buddy Mike Gallagher and Larry Elder. And we have a few hundred of our loyal listeners from around the country. If you've never been here, Juneau is tucked between the Gastineau Channel and the massive coast mountains, with Mount Juneau towering above all of this. And really, when I said a minute ago, no cars, no highways lead in or out. You either fly in or you come via boat like we are now. It feels like the edge of the world, and that's part of its charm, I think. Juneau's story started with gold in 1880. Prospector Joe Juneau, of course, that's the namesake, and his partner Richard Harris followed the guidance of Chief Cowee of the Tlingit tribe, and they struck gold in the surrounding hills, and what began as a rough mining camp quickly grew across the channel. The Treadwell Mine became one of the largest gold operations in the entire world, fueling dreams and fortunes, and I'm sure there was some misfortunes in there too. By 1900, Juneau was more than just a boom town. It was a hub for Alaska's territorial government. In 1906, it became the capital, replacing Sitka, which will be there a little bit later. The gold rush might have built it, but government, fishing, and tourism would keep it going for the coming years. Long before the miners, this was Tlingit land. Their heritage is still alive here in the totem poles, clan houses, and all the art galleries. It's a living reminder that America's story stretches far beyond 1776. Of course, you can't talk about Juneau without mentioning the Mendenhall Glacier. It's a 13-mile river of ice just outside of town. Wildlife here is the kind that you normally see on a postcard: bald eagles overhead, humpback whales in the channel, and black bears fishing for the wonderful, delicious salmon in the region. All right, just a few quick fun facts. As I mentioned, no roads in or out. Rain, about 62 inches a year, and 90 inches of snow. It's the glacier heaven, over 40 glaciers in the Juneau ice field. And as I mentioned, gold, the Treadwell mine produced $66 million worth of when gold was just about $20 an ounce. Wildlife galore: eagles, bears, whales, orcas. You can see them all right here. And Mount Roberts Tramway is an 1,800 foot up just 6 minutes with views that will just stop you in your tracks. Today, there's about 32,000 people who call this area home. Summers bring long days and tourists like me. Winters bring dark skies, but the community here has that rugged Alaskan self-reliance. It's just a beautiful area, and the people here are just as beautiful. You know, as I look at this place, Juneau, with its wild beauty, rugged mountains, and a community that thrives without, again, a single road in or out, I'm reminded that America's strength has always come from people willing to build, to endure, and believe no matter how remote the challenge. And boy, you don't get much more remote than you are here. Whether it's a gold miner in the 1880s, a fisherman braving icy waters today, or a patriot standing for our values back home, it's the same grit, faith, and love of freedom that just binds all of us together, from Washington, D.C. all the way here to Juneau, Alaska. And speaking of that grit and responsibility, let's bring it back to the Carolinas for a moment. We've got a brand new hands-free driving law in South Carolina getting ready to take effect September the 1st. One designed to keep our roads safer by keeping your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel. Joining us today to talk about what you need to know and how it's going to be enforced and what the penalties look like is Master Trooper Ridgeway from the South Carolina Highway Patrol. I'll be checking back with you tomorrow from Icy Straight Point. Trooper Ridgeway is up next. America is in a health crisis, and by America, not just strangers across the country. It's personal. Me, you, friends, and family. And a major cause? Excess weight. Joey Hudson here. The solution isn't expensive shots like Ozempic. It's learning how to eat and think about food differently, and that's what PhD Weight Loss does. Their clients lose up to a third of their body weight. No drugs, just real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. Sure, you could spend up to $20,000 a year on injections that burn muscle, not fat, and come with risks like pancreatitis or bowel blockages, only to gain it all back. PhD helps your body naturally produce weight loss hormones like GLP-1s. No shortcuts, just results that last. Already on Ozempic? Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team will help you safely transition off and keep losing weight. Let's make America healthy again. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. Starting September the 1st, South Carolina's new hands-free driving law goes into effect. State officials witnessed Governor Henry McMaster signing the bill into law in a recent ceremonial signing. This now makes South Carolina the 33rd state to pass such a law. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of questions on what you can do, what you can't do. Joining me today to help us understand the new law is Master Trooper Mitchell Ridgeway. Welcome, sir. How are you? I am wonderful. I appreciate your time today. I read a report the other day that shows that distracted driving is a contributing factor in more than 20,000 traffic collisions each year. I had Kelly Willenberg on the show recently. She knows firsthand as Kelly lost her husband to a hit-and-run accident while he was cycling back in 2018. Eventually, the driver was caught, charged, and is serving a 12-year sentence now. That just doesn't seem like enough. This guy took a man's life and changed his family forever. That's probably a discussion for another segment. But let's start with the basics. Take a minute, if you would, and give us the details of the new hands-free driving law that starts September 1st.
Joey, probably the simplest way to explain it to our listeners here is basically no handheld devices. So no cell phones. I don't care if it's a smartphone or a flip phone. A tablet, any electronic device cannot be supported by any part of your body, of course, either hand while you're operating a vehicle. So if your vehicle's in drive and you're going down the road or stopped at a traffic light, so you're still in operation at a traffic light or a stop sign, you should not have that cell phone in either hand.
Yeah. That seems pretty simple, doesn't it? But I've got a feeling that there's going to be some people who, because, we're kind of in a habit of having that phone with us at all times. I mean, I know just the other day I head out my driveway and realized I didn't have my phone with me, and I turned around immediately and went back because for some reason we think we just can't be without our phones. So that's going to be kind of tough for some people, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a big adjustment for the state of South Carolina. Obviously, many other states, our surrounding states, Georgia, I believe North Carolina, they've been doing this for years. And, cell phones are a huge part of our lives. They're great tools, but they also, if you're driving a motor vehicle, they can become a very dangerous thing. And it affects everyone. Traffic safety is a really important thing in everyone's lives, because whether it's you or your family, your friends, we're all in vehicles day to day. So, when somebody's on a cell phone and their eyes are not on the road, then that could become very dangerous. And, it's kind of crazy. I heard you talk about the statistics, 20,000, I believe in this state, you said. But, that's probably not even that accurate because, as a trooper, sometimes if you think about it, we'll go out and work a collision. And let's just say it's a minor collision. Let's say Woodruff Road in Greenville and it's a fender bender, somebody runs in the back of somebody. And then when we go to interview that person, like, hey, sir, man, what caused the accident? Lots of times those individuals may not be totally truthful with us on what actually caused the accident.
Right.
So if they were looking down at their phone, they're not going to be honest that, hey, I was actually on my phone. That's where I rear-ended the vehicle in front of me. So sometimes, even some of these minor collisions are caused by distraction. And then of course you have the much more traumatic collisions where there's serious injury or death, which are just terrible and unfortunate. And I unfortunately have been involved in investigating many of those throughout my time on the Highway Patrol. So, this law is just going to allow us to do our job as troopers a lot easier, because, the current law is a texting and driving law. We have to articulate they were texting and driving. And you could have that cell phone in your hand. So now as a trooper, when we're working out on the road, if we see that individual with a cell phone in their hand, we can put them on the shoulder. And of course, we won't be writing any tickets for those first 180 days after September 1st. But it's really important just to get people in the mindset of, hey, I cannot pick my phone up as I'm driving down the road, because, cell phones, they're not just communication devices, they're entertainment devices. And I preach that all the time in high schools. A lot of times, you may talk on the phone a little bit here or there, a text or a little bit here or there, but lots of times, especially at night, we're using them as an entertainment device. We're watching Netflix on them. We're on a social media app. We're on Facebook. Some of the younger people, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. So, and that's when it becomes dangerous, because people are doing that while they're traveling on the road. So it'll make it a lot easier for law enforcement across the state to enforce this law, because if we see it in their hand, we can make a traffic stop and go from there. But and of course, I believe, and I really believe this in my heart, it's going to save a lot of lives across our state once this is implemented.
Yep. Master Trooper Ridgeway is with us today. So let's talk about that. So if you are patrolling or one of your troopers is out there and they see someone driving down the road with the phone in their hand, then they can pull them over, correct?
Absolutely. Easy as that. Yeah. You cannot have the phone supported by any part of your body. So I don't know how else you would hold the phone, but either hand or you can't hold it up any other way. And if we see that, which is pretty easy to see, as a trooper or as a law enforcement officer, if we're on the road 12 hours a day looking for these violations, and once we see that, we have probable cause to make that traffic stop. And like I said, those first 180 days, warnings only, but after those 180 days are over, we can then start writing tickets. The first fine is $100, no points. And then if that same person gets stopped again, it's then a $200 fine and a 2-point violation.
So it's going to start to hurt then. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So one final question for you then. We know what we can't do. What can we do? If you're sitting at a stoplight or a stop sign and your vehicle is stopped and you've got a call, can you take it while you're sitting still?
So the way I've read the law, if the vehicle's in drive and you're in operation of it, you can take the call, but it has to be hands-free.
Okay.
So how most newer vehicles have Bluetooth.
Right.
You can pick it up. If you have a headset, you can pick it up. If you're legally parked and you're in your vehicle and you're in your driver's seat, you can of course have your cell phone in your hand.
Okay.
As an operator of a motor vehicle and you're sharing the road with another vehicle, like you're next to somebody at a stoplight, that would actually be against the law.
Yeah. So I guess the best rule of thumb here, Master Trooper Ridgeway, is just put your phone in the cradle. If you have Bluetooth, you can do that, but otherwise leave it alone till you get to your destination, right?
Yep. And one thing I always like to talk about, especially like in the classroom, cell phones distract us in 3 different ways. Number 1, they visually distract us because they take our eyes off the road. Number 2, they manually distract us because they take at least one or 2 hands off the wheel. And then thirdly, they mentally distract us. Yeah. And, when you have all 3 distractions like that going on at one time, it can be very, very deadly. And you could, of course, do something that could cost you your life or somebody else's life. And unfortunately, that does happen. And that's why this law has been written out and that's why we're going to implement it, because, our goal is to save lives and reduce the number of fatalities that distracted driving causes across our state.
Sure. Master Trooper Ridgeway, thank you for your time today, and thank you for what you do out there to keep us safe every day. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Joey.
Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.